Get your response on this one because he hinted that all that comes across may just be that some sort of tussle. And Gbajabiamila, if you can hear us now, well, has it ever occurred to you that all that the House may be doing may come across as some sort of altercation between the legislature and the executive?
Well, thank you, Chamberlain. I've heard a lot of things from Frank this morning that really surprised me. But let me address them one after the other. First of all, I got news for him. In any democracy, the presidency or the executive is supposed to walk on eggshells. That's part of checks and balances. You're not supposed to walk and just be so comfortable. I mean, you're supposed to walk on eggshells and be aware of that there is another arm of government that will check you. And that's the essence of democracy. Now, he referred to me as a minority leader, and therefore I must oppose anything that is there to oppose. Well, fine. If that's his own take on what the job of the opposition is, that's fine. In the same vein, I guess he is a member of the EMT, and he must agree with everything the president says, whether it's right or wrong. And I heard him say it doesn't matter whether a savings is illegal or legal. And that really shocks me, that somebody will come up and tell the whole of Nigeria that it doesn't matter whether the savings is illegal. The Constitution does not matter. What matters is what we want to do, what is practical. Unfortunately, I beg to differ. It's a shame that in this country we still see things as between a fight between the executive and the legislative arm of government. And this is the kind of advice, bad advice if I may say, that the president is receiving on a daily basis. The three arms, or the two arms in this case of government, are co-equal arms. They're separate but co-equal. And they're supposed to work, they're supposed to have a symbiotic relationship that synergizes and produces a product that is for the greater good of the Nigerian society. The excess crude oil, if I may correct him, is totally separate from the sovereign wealth fund. He says they're one and the same thing. No, they're not. The sovereign wealth fund was created by an act of parliament. It details how the fund is acquired. Contributions from the states, a certain percentage from the federal government. It's got nothing to do with excess crude oil. Now, maybe the federal government pays its own portion from the excess crude oil, which again is illegal. Because if federal government is paying its own contribution from the excess crude oil, that goes against the grain and the face and flies against the face of the provisions of the Constitution, and I believe in section 59 or thereabouts, that all revenues, not some, all revenues must be paid into a federation account for the benefit of the whole federation. So again, I am only doing my job, and I believe he's doing his. I'm only doing my job. I am pointing out to the federal government, to the executive, things that are unconstitutional, things that are illegal. We all swore, held up our hands and swore to uphold the Constitution. We swore on oath to uphold the Constitution. To now say that doesn't matter, forget that. Let's just move on. Let's do whatever we need to do. Oh, come on. The finance minister is a product of the United States. Nobody in the United
States. Let's get you to respond to this, because specifically now about the request to jack up the benchmark from 75 to 82, the CBN governor did appear before your House committee, and he spoke up on that matter. Well, listen to this one. Well, it might be a little longer than expected, but just listen to the part where he talks about what the matter actually is. I would like to get your response on it.
On some aspects of the document.
And if you want to improve the revenue profile, you should focus on things where you have control. The problem with the government revenue is not the benchmark. It is NMPC not meeting output requirements, are not having the right investments in production, which I suppose with the PIB, we should get the investments to expand output capacity. It's also about the amount of oil that is being stolen in the Niger Delta and fiscal leakages. If you actually focus on having a right investment environment, improving productive capacity, moving output to 3.2 million barrels a day, and blocking all those leakages from bunkering and stealing in the Niger Delta, you won't have any problem.
Like every meeting between the federal law.
Yeah, that's the part we want actually. So what do you think about what he just said?
Well, the CBN governor basically addressed certain ills and issues that are plaguing this country plaguing us as a country. Corruption, production level. I mean, those are very, very, very genuine observations, and we could raise our revenue if we blocked those loopholes. That doesn't mean the National Assembly does not have the powers to, as you put it, raise the benchmark. Again, it's inherent in the Constitution. It's in the spirit of the Constitution. It's expressed and implied in the Constitution. The power of the purse in any democracy, the power of the purse belongs to the National Assembly. He has not said that it's wrong to raise the benchmark. All he has said, from what I heard, that that's really not the issue, in his opinion. And I respect his opinion. It's not the issue, that's what he says. But we have our opinion that that is the issue. It will bring in more money, together with what he suggested. Plug the loopholes, fix NNPC, raise production. That will bring in a lot more money. And so would raising the benchmark. In the first place, like I said, I don't even think there should be a benchmark. I don't believe it's legal. I don't believe it's constitutional. So how do we begin to address or debate the issue of whether it's right to raise a benchmark? If ab initio, fundamentally, it's unconstitutional. So there is no issue there.
Go ahead.
Very, very interesting. Well, first of all, just to put on record that I did not suggest by any breath that the Constitution of Nigeria should be disregarded. Okay? It's very important to put this on record, and if I came across that way, I don't know, but I think I was very clear. I don't think I suggested that. What I'm advocating is that there should be collaboration, there should be cooperation between all the arms of government for the interest, the welfare, the well-being of the Nigerian people. That is my position. Whether you're in the minority or the majority, irrespective of whatever you're called, whatever your designation or position in the National Assembly, you're in the service of the Nigerian people. And Femi is someone that I have the greatest respect for. He's a very close friend of mine. But I do not agree in any way whatsoever that it is the responsibility of the National Assembly to arrogate the kinds of powers that he has referred to in this thing. It is the responsibility of the executive to plan the management of to plan and manage our economy, okay? Make expenditure proposals. And my express understanding of how these things work is that they may reduce, they may not add, okay? And I say, just as an aside, as a very quick digression is, in addition to all the things that the central bank governor has said, one thing perhaps he failed to mention, but he had mentioned previously, and we agree with, based on a recent study we've conducted on the cost of democratic institutions in this country, is that one way to save money is to manage the profligacy of the National Assembly. A situation where the cost of running that place, including their remunerations and everything, rose from just a little below 50 billion in 2006 to 150 billion less than 5-7 years after. Is it that more people have gotten in there or what? That is one area where we must also try to reduce money. Okay? Even in the executive arm as well, a study is also, that one is also coming to show areas where even within the executive monies can be reduced. So for me, look, and again for the record, I'm not a member of the economic management team. Okay? I'm not a member of the economic management team. And the Nigerian Economic Summit Group is an independent, non-partisan think tank and advocacy group. Our position is to look at things objectively and say, this is what we believe, this is what we think is right, and push it forward. Okay? We're interested in good governance. We're interested in civil representation. We're interested in the adoption of policies conducive to good governance and that will promote the welfare and the well-being of Nigerians and a private sector-led economic growth. That is our interest.
Okay.
And all of these things, the macroeconomic environment is critical to a successful private sector.
All right.
And that is why we're concerned about these kinds of issues.